Hi, I'm here with Kenny and Lance. Kenny and Lance have been with the project right from the day one. They primarily concentrated on, Kenny was more involved in supply chain conversion, and Lance was a advisor, consultant on the integration of RAMCO with their financial system. So I'm going to ask a few questions about that. So to Kenny, first on your side, since I know you've been there from day one to now, so can you just quickly summarize how it was and how it is and how does it help?
Oh, goodness. Yeah, I mean, in the early days, I mean, it was just quite hectic with the transition and getting everything up and going. But I mean, over the years, we've really smoothed out the bugs and the hiccups, and it's really working well for us now.
Okay. All right. So I'll go to Lance now. Lance, I know you. There was a lot of good inputs that you gave in this whole financial things, and we learned from you, and you helped us. So over the years, can you say how did we start? Where are we? Your experience with it?
Sure. I think a lot of the tough things that Kenny and I faced in the early days and throughout the implementation was it was such a custom build for PHI that it was hard to know what to expect at a lot of points through the implementation. But it also turned out to be one of the better things because it was so custom fit for PHI. And we had some problems financially and what have you with several aspects of the implementation, but working closely, with the guys, and it seemed to work out well. I mean, the system settled down, it stabilized, and I think it's pretty tight now. So it worked out.
All right, thank you. And sure. One last question to both of you. Same question. If you can remember any one funny thing, or that you can remember through the days of implementation, if you can remember, can you say it's okay even if it's going to be? There's nothing called politically correct.
I mean, was it Halloween weekend 10 years ago? Staying up the whole weekend and loading all of our inventory system into Excel sheets to load into the.
So that was Halloween for you?
Yeah, that probably caught you and I by surprise big time.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
All right,
yeah. Hi, I'm here with Mr. James Quinn, the CIO of PHI, and I'm going to ask a couple of questions. James, thank you for taking the time. What will be your general overview in the last 10 years? What's your experience with RAMCO?
Wow, 10 years. Okay, well, I would say, it was from the time we put the system in, it was like a small child. And then we went through the growing pains of that child. But as the product matured really rapidly, it's fantastic. We couldn't run our operation without it.
Thank you. One quick question. If you can remember one good memory about this last 10 years of what it is, what would you say that to be?
I would say it was the people of RAMCO RAMCO, the support staff, the support that we got from everybody. They were always understanding, knew their product, and sometimes, they're working through the night trying to take care of something that we've brought up that was maybe something custom or special for us. So we appreciated the effort that they put in for us.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, I'm with Tom Yakubovich. He's the manager of aircraft availability for PHI. Tom was part of the original implementation team, and we worked together very closely. So I'm going to ask a few questions to Tom. Tom, thank you. In these 10 years, if you can summarize how your experience has been with RAMCO, what would you say?
It's been a positive experience. I've learned a lot about computers, about technology. It's helped us be more efficient as a company. So it's been a positive experience.
Okay. I know you were part of the original team. So if you can remember the funniest thing that ever happened with RAMCO team, we being there, maybe one or two.
Yeah, I guess part of it is the RAMCO guys learning some of the phrases that we use and trying to understand them, and then once we learned the true meaning of function points and what that meant. So a couple of things.
Okay. So how has RAMCO helped you in your job, as not just as a implementer, but after you implemented, went back to your regular job? How has RAMCO helped you?
Well, the data research that we do in finding issues and trying to improve the company, it's made it a lot easier to do.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it. Thanks, Tom. Hi, I'm here with Joe. Joe Santiago has been part of the original team that implemented RAMCO at PHI, and he has continued in that role after we finished the implementation as well. So I'm going to ask a few questions to Joe. Joe, thank you for taking the time. You've been involved right from day one until today. Can you summarize your whole experience in a short phrase of how does that look like?
Okay, like you said, I've been here with the RAMCO system for 10 years. At the beginning, we learned a lot of the program, how it worked, what it would do for us for PHI, and we grew from that point. And at the beginning, it was a little bit sluggish, but as time went on, the people got very comfortable with the product, and I remained wanting to go ahead and support the whole RAMCO system from our end. Once we developed that kind of collaboration throughout the years, I've been mainly collaborating with the team in India, and the product has stabilized, and of course we've used it for 10 years, and it's doing very well for us.
Thank you. One other quick question. During your implementation days, if you can remember one funny incident or something that is memorable, it could be anything, funny or serious or whatever, what would you remember?
Oh, there were so many of them, but mainly I found that I started to learn how to speak Indian language,
Okay. Can you say a word now?
Biryani rice.
Biryani rice.
But that's just English, though. But,
all right.
But I've learned your culture. It's not a funny thing, but I've learned a lot of things from Centil and you guys also. So I've always wanted to go to India to see the rest of the world, and RAMCO has given me that urge to try to go to India and see not only the product but your own country. So I've just not only learned the product, but I also learned a new culture, basically. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Hi, I'm here with Mr. Thirumal. We call him Thiru. Thiru used to be part of us in RAMCO, and then he moved on in his career to join PHI. So I'm going to ask a few questions about on RAMCO and other things with Thiru. Thiru, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
So first thing is, I know you were part of RAMCO and then you moved on to PHI. So you've now looked on both sides of the thing in the last 10 years. Can you tell a few things about the experience?
I have got nothing negative about the whole experience. I've been on both end of the RAMCO, and so having come over from project manager RAMCO side to manager procurement and inventory control at PHI. I didn't have any problem at all, but I did enhance the whole, the solution itself, because having realized the business process at PHI, I did accomplish quite a few change requests to be in line with the strategy of the company itself. So that has really paved a lot of streamlining of the process, and also millions of dollars of saving in respect. I'd like to highlight one thing, that is aircraft warranty we implemented here. There was a little bit of hesitancy in terms of the cost, but then we reaped almost millions of benefit on that particular specific request itself. So it has been a great, smooth, and very innovative things for me because of the background I have. So I have no complaints on RAMCO. I cannot also.
Okay. So today, I think you already highlighted one aspect of it. Today, in your job as a manager of inventory and procurement, how does RAMCO help you as a person as well as you in your job responsibilities?
It makes life a lot more easier having known the RAMCO background, and so I expect if RAMCO can provide those kind of tools on the front end, that will be more useful for other users. Now I had to go back end to get all those information, which is it's not a big deal for me, but definitely for other users, I think it will be a lot more easier if they can have those tools in the front end. That will be really an awesome job, if you can accomplish that.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Thiru.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm here with Senthil Tavamani. Senthil is an employee of PHI, and he's in the IT side. He's a senior systems analyst. He was also involved from day one of this project, and he was instrumental in a lot of things. So I'm going to ask him a few questions. Senthil, thank you for your time. In all these 10 years, can you tell me how things have evolved as you've been working with RAMCO for PHI?
Okay. I had very good involvement with RAMCO last 10 years from the beginning. Prior to RAMCO, we had Gold. I was in that project also. So obviously, RAMCO replaced a couple of systems like Gold and the AMS. Yeah, in fact, the AMS was written by me. That is for labor collection system. And we had a little hesitation that time why to replace this nice working system. But they all convinced me and replaced with RAMCO. It's so good, like last 10 years. And overall, every 5 years, 6 years, we replace our software, and this product reached 10 years level. So I had a very good experience with RAMCO. Whenever I need support, I talk to them, and they provide me good support. So the overall good, I have good feeling with them.
Okay. So if you can say in these 10 years one good memory that you will have, good experience, what would you say that?
Good experience, maybe like I'm a technical supporter. We support. First 2 years we had a trouble, but after that it's so good. We enjoy. Like when is the month end going to come? Like everything is smooth, and I feel proud to support a system which is used by more than 600, 700 people, and then within RAMCO there are like within PHI just 2-3 people supporting a whole massive system, whereas in other system there is a whole team is supporting. So that way I'm so proud to be in a small team supporting a bigger system, and it is good running. I would say support from them is more cherishing to me. Like, and one is the language, another one is they are from India. Like, whenever I can call from home. And even here in PHI, they ask me, hey, can you tell RAMCO do this and this, and like, so I'm happy that way, and I know what festival they have, and when the vacation going to be, we are so prepared for those vacations. Also, I know in advance when it's going to be like Indian function, Diwali or Pongal and those kind of, so we prepare in advance. So every day, we have a good time.
Thanks, Senthil. Thanks for your time. time. Appreciate it. Hi, I'm here with Mr. Tony Gonzalez. Tony is the Director of Maintenance for PHI. He heads the whole maintenance operation for PHI. And Tony was the steering committee member. He was part of the selection committee for RAMCO, and he was that guiding group that steered the whole project when we did that. And he's been involved in one way or the other all these 10 years, so I'm going to ask him a few questions. Tony, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Quite welcome.
So from the beginning, you've been in this, and you've been in a leadership position right from beginning. So all these 10 years, can you summarize your experience with RAMCO?
I think having the visibility of the maintenance organization in terms of what we do, key and most important in terms of cost, timing, we've been able to manage a pretty large fleet and have our business a little tighter because of RAMCO. That visibility has given us invaluable knowledge in regards to what's going on, when it's going on, and cost. And then we've been able to equate that to improved efficiencies and maintenance.
Okay, that's good. So in today, as you're overseeing the whole maintenance organization, if there are two or one good thing that you think is the key highlight that you feel like highlighting about RAMCO, what would that be?
I think I'll be quite honest. Early on, the training of all the staff in terms of learning what they had to do, and the most of the complaint was the input into the computer where they'd be already done on paper. But it's been very invaluable in terms of we get to rest very well at night, and knowing that the system itself is going to notify in terms of when things are coming due. Key and most important, you can't install something onto an aircraft unless it has been run through the traps of RAMCO. So at the end of the day, it's made us more efficient and secure in knowledge that we're performing maintenance correctly.
So one last question. So is there a cherishable memory in this in this whole journey? I know there's been ups and downs in our discussions and all of that. Is there one thing that you would like to say that's a cherishable memory with?
I think when we changed as a corporation, as a company at PHI, when we had to actually be on budget, on time, when we were doing this on paper, it was a gut feeling we're spending too much or spending too little. That gave us a lot more visibility. So I've become a more effective manager. I've learned more about dollars and cents in terms of this maintenance role that we've added. I believe RAMCO has helped me add value to the PHI organization. So that's the key thing I take away from that.
Thank you so much, Tony. I appreciate your time.
You're quite welcome.
Hi, I'm with Mr. Robert Bouillon. Robert is the Director of Safety for PHI, and I'm going to ask a few questions. Robert was also involved right from the beginning of the project. He was not a day-to-day involvement, but he was more like an expert giving us inputs on safety, and he helped us shape a lot of things on the occurrence management, which is safety. So I'm going to ask him a few questions about that. Robert, thank you for your time. I know you helped us do this whole occurrence reporting and the whole safety aspect of things that we brought into RAMCO. How has it helped back then to today, if you can summarize that?
I think the primary things it's done for us is really kind of helped us automate the whole process. So now, through RAMCO, we have a tracking system and a way to quickly notify our management team of significant events that occur in the company.
So I know during these days, SMS has come in, and there's a lot of other changes that FA has brought in. How would you relate that with RAMCO today in terms of, is it still able to hold on to what is required and be able to provide you with all the functions?
Definitely, and the way RAMCO, I would say, fits into SMS, there's really four components of SMS, one of those being your safety assurance process. In that safety assurance process, there's a element called data acquisition. So obviously RAMCO helps us fill a big piece of that bucket when it talks about data acquisition. Everything, again, from incident reporting to mechanical malfunctions. I mean, it's a laundry list of items, but there's a whole lot of data that comes through the RAMCO system that feeds our safety management system.
Thank you for your time, Robert. We appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you. Hi, I'm here with Mr. Kenneth Highlander. Kenny is the Director of Materials for PHI, and he recently took over this position. So I'm going to ask him a few questions about RAMCO and how he feels. Kenny, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. As you came in and you looked at and you're settling down, if you can tell me what do you think about RAMCO? How is it useful for your job and your PHI?
Yes, any M&E system is important as a foundation for the Material and Technical Operations Department. And what I've seen of RAMCO, we have an excellent foundation developed here at PHI, and we look forward to improving it with your new system and the upgrades coming out.
Thank you very much. One quick question. So, as you see these things, how does this is helping your organization today?
It helps us in many areas. We gain efficiencies. We run a very lean operations. We have the data to analyze, to make changes, and to become more efficient. It's helped us with our inventory. We have world-class inventory numbers as far as inventory accuracy goes, and it helps us make financial decisions for the future as far as what inventory to carry and so forth. So the planning modules and the actual inventory modules help us a great deal.
Thank you very much for your time, Kenny. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Does that help?
Okay, so I have the fondest memories of when we went live. There's some great stories around that one. But let's talk about before we went live. So there was a lot of discussion, as you know. So we had the RAMCO team, I think about 10, 13 people. I don't remember how many. More than 20. 17, 20. Yeah, Barry, here and there. So at some point we had 20 people. And then how many people did we have on the PHI team?
12.
12?
Right at 12.
12? Wow, that's like anyway.
All in one room.
All in one room, yeah. Oh, no, I'm about to get to that. So, before we went live, I'll never forget it, we had a discussion with the Director of Maintenance at the time, great guy, and I'm standing in the hall, Tom's there, and we're discussing the fact that we're going to go live, and I'm saying, look, we got to pull the trigger, we got to go live. So a lot of team members, I would say at least half of them are like, are you crazy? It's not ready. They cannot go live. We got to push it back. And I'm sitting there knowing that, although I haven't been there that long, I know that gold is like falling apart, and we would never feel ready. I knew we'd never feel ready. So, and I've been through this a couple of times before. So I was like, just trust me. It's going to be very, very painful. But when we pull the trigger, we'll get through it. We need to do this. And so at the time, Tom was standing in the hallway, and Glenn Cornett, who was the Director of Maintenance at the time, I'm sitting there trying to convince him, because he was the last one I needed to convince. I'm trying to convince him, we got to go live. We're going to do it. We're going to pull the trigger. Come this weekend. And he's like, I don't want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear what that man has to say. I said, well, shit. So Tom was like, okay, that put me kind of in a corner. Now I make the decision. And luckily Tom sort of backed me up, not completely, but a little bit. He's like, if James says we need to go live, then, do I feel comfortable with it? I feel okay about it. I don't feel comfortable. I think that's something like you said. He wasn't committed 100%, but he's like, I think you even repeated what I said. I think you said, look, I don't know if we'll ever be ready to go completely live where we'll feel completely satisfied with the product the way it is right now, but we need to do something. So the decision was made to go live, which leads me into the next little story. So we decided to go live. So we need a facility to house like 30 people, and they're going to live there for 3 days. And so we took over the main training conference room, and put everybody in there. We had laptops for everybody. The Air Force show was going on that weekend, so that was kind of exciting. Yeah. And so everybody was like, James, are you going to lock up in the room with us and moderate this going on? And I was like, no, I've been through this before. You guys are the experts. You go through it. Because I know somebody has to have been sleeping while you guys stay awake for 48 hours, 36 hours, 72 hours, whatever it's going to be. I had no idea how long it was going to take you guys. I was sure it was going to take 3 full days. Well, it took 3 full days up until about 7 o'clock in the morning on Monday when we finally turned the system on and all hell broke loose.
No total time.
Big time hell broke loose. And I've got the only people that know anything about the system have been up 3 days without sleep. And they're all crashed at a hotel, crashed at home, nobody's around. And I must have had 30 people from operations and maintenance in my office going, what are you going to do to fix this? So I'm trying to call people and get them out of bed. I know they haven't had any sleep. I know they can't do anything, but they rouse themselves. I have to give it to RAMCO. These guys kept on working, got into the maintenance conference room, set up their laptops, started figuring out what was going on, and we managed to make it work. It was painful. It was like giving birth. All these big systems usually are. They're like giving birth. So you're going to go through the pain, and then hopefully, as your child grows up, you're really happy with it, right? It's a performer. So and that turned out to be the case for us.
Thank you. Thank you. Tony, if you can share some stories and how you felt in those 10 years of the early days, please.
Well, it's really a continuation, as James mentioned, when we started with RAMCO. First of all, we got this team together, working with your team, and we were told that we could have obviously given just anybody, but we decided to get the top people of the organization that understood where we were going. And then I think one of the big differences that we did with RAMCO in terms of the implementation, one of the things that James and his team led us through, that we weren't going to duplicate what we were doing, we were going to incorporate best practices in the organization. And as James mentioned, it was very, very painful. The word RAMCO was associated with something I don't want you to know what that was associated with. But at the end of the day, I think with the friendship that we developed with the implementation team, with our guys, I mean, they went to dinner, they socialized, they lived it. Here we are, 10 years later, very successful in regards to what we've accomplished in regards to RAMCO. And it really, it took a team. So at the end of the day, it's really not a specific story. It's really in terms of going through that pain and going through a long process. And every step of the way, when it looked very, very bleak, both our team, particularly, and your team, with that friendship, that relationship, that technical joining of the minds, it made a difference. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's 6:50, so I think I want to open it up. Does anyone else want to say? Yeah.
I do want to say something. So good evening everyone, and thanks for coming for this 10-year celebration of RAMCO and PHI partnership. So I have been with the company RAMCO for 1.5 years, and I have been in the software industry for a long time. And one thing that I have seen in the last 1.5 years at RAMCO and looking at and different customers that RAMCO has, and I always tell Mohan and everybody at RAMCO that you are actually blessed to have a customer like PHI, because I think the name PHI resonates so much in the industry, and I think it gives us a lot of credibility. I'm sure there's a lot of benefit that PHI has received from RAMCO in terms of software, but I think RAMCO has also received a lot of benefit in terms of learning, domain knowledge, and industry expertise through. So it is a collaboration, truly a partnership between PHI and RAMCO in the last 10 years. So again, thank you very much for this partnership, and I'm looking forward to continuing that partnership for another 10 years. So thank you very much for